This is the CAVS POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, Cavs fans? Welcome to another edition of the CAVS POSTCAST, brought to you by Locked On Cavs and the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in America. My name is Tim Daniel. I've been podcasting about the NBA for 10 years now, and I want to thank you all for spending some time with me this Sunday afternoon as we discuss an unfortunate Cleveland Cavaliers loss to the Boston Celtics 109-98. If you're just checking my show out for the first time, welcome. We are so glad to have you. Please be sure to hit that notification button so you can not only get my show after each and every Cavaliers game, but you can get Danny Cunningham as well here on Locked On Cavs. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. On today's show, it was first, let me go ahead and bring up my background. Didn't realize that was not on there. I apologize, everybody. But it was a disaster Sunday. We're going to get into the ins and outs of the game. I'm genuinely curious why they went Sam Merrill over Jaylon Tyson in this game as a starting lineup. I guess it didn't really matter all that much, but felt like it was a little bit of a better decision there. And then we're going to kind of get to the bench today and why the bench just didn't show up. All that and a whole lot more. If you're here in the chat, I want to get your comments. I want to hear what you guys have to say as well. Let's go ahead and let's get started.
This is what you'll be talking about.
This is a game that I know what the live final score says, and there's some positives to take away from it for sure. You see how they battled back. You see how they got into the game. They cut it to under 10 in the fourth quarter, and they had their chances. So I'm not saying that this is the end of the world. What I am saying is that there was a lot of disaster in this game they could have overcame to make this better. Obviously, if you look at the second quarter, the first thing that jumps out is they scored 10 points in the second quarter. You're not going to beat the Boston Celtics, the Brooklyn Nets, anyone scoring 10 points in a quarter in the NBA. It's just not going to happen. But just the inability to kind of make adjustments on the defensive side of things, how badly they shot from three in the first half, they just had dug themselves too big of a hole. So, and you got to think about it. They scored 10 points in the second quarter, which is really bad. They only gave up 21. They literally play an even quarter, an average quarter. We're talking about a whole different game here. Third quarter, they were awesome. Fourth quarter, they were really good as well. So, they gave them a chance to get back in it. But just that second quarter alone being so brutal took them completely out of the game. Other things that were really bad, I'm not going to get too deep into the bench because I want to talk about that at the end of the show. I know James Harden's numbers say 19 and 10. And fourth quarter, he came a little bit more alive. He was hitting some shots, but 6 of 16 from the floor. The defense was bad. There's back-to-back Baylor Scheierman threes in the third quarter when the Celtics get up to being up like 26. And you just see Harden just stop and watch the ball go in the air. I've loved James Harden being a part of this team. I think he's done a great job in some of the stuff he's been able to do. We've obviously seen that he's been able to help the offense out a lot. And we know that there are these times you get with him defensively where he's really bad. But that was not a game where he's gonna really kind of show up there. And that was a game that he could have been significantly better on defense. That was really bad. Dean Wade and Sam Merrill being the two forwards didn't give him enough. 12 points combined between the two of them. They were combined 5 of 14 from the floor and 2 of 10 from three. And here's the thing. Tatum and Brown weren't very good today. I know it's going to say that they scored combined 43 points. Those guys were a combined 13 for 33 from the floor. They were a combined 3 for 12 from three. And Cleveland still lost this game. What does that say to you? The bench kind of guys kind of came through for Boston. The Payton Pritchards, the Baylor Scheiermans, those guys showed up today. Sam Hauser, he showed up for them today. And Cleveland did not have an answer for those guys. They played really well against Tatum and Brown. I don't have a complaint. Tatum and Brown are going to get 20 points. They roll out of bed and score 20 points. It's the kind of players they are. But today was a day that Cleveland kind of probably needed everybody. And it was a day that they really did not show up. And that's what's frustrating about this one, because they had every reason to win this game. They had so many opportunities to win this game, and they just couldn't pull it off. So at the end of the day, it's just one regular season game. I know it's magnified because we're at this point in the year. It's March. It's the last full month of regular season basketball. But honestly, maybe Detroit being the 1 seed and Cleveland being the 4 seed is the best route to the conference finals. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of basketball still to be played. They play tomorrow against Philly. We could be having a whole different conversation tomorrow. As a matter of fact, I kind of think we'll be having a whole different conversation tomorrow. But one conversation I have to have, and I need to figure out, is why exactly did we have the situation today where we had Sam Merrill starting against this Boston Celtics team? Let's talk about that and more right after this. But first, this episode is brought to you by Quo. Spring is a natural reset point, and if there's one thing missing that can quietly cost business money, it's messy communication. Missed calls, scattered texts, no clear thread of who said what. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Quo is the #1 business rated phone system on G2 with over 3,000 reviews, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses. It lets your entire team share one business number, so you never miss a call, text, or opportunity. The part I love, everything lives in one clean thread: calls, texts, voicemails. The whole team sees the conversation, so nothing falls through the cracks. I actually use Quo. I don't know, for those who don't know me, I actually run a travel agent business as well. I book for Disney World and Universal. I book all their vacations, and I use Quo to kind of help me keep in line with my customers, make sure I don't miss anything, make sure I don't miss any opportunities. So make this season the season with no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedonnba. That's quo.com/lockedonnba. Quo. No missed calls, no missed opportunities. This show is also brought to you by PrizePicks. Shoot your spot on PrizePicks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right. PrizePicks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5 lineup. It makes every dunk, every assist, and every big play that much more exciting. PrizePicks is the #1 daily fantasy sports picks app, and it's super simple to play. What I like about it is I set my lineup. It's, you can combine sports if you want. The World Baseball Classic is going on right now on top of the NBA. If you just want to pick an over or under for each guy, and then you get that chance to kind of get some extra cash. And you may have the option to cash out winnings before the game even finishes. It's a really fun way to test your sports knowledge and stay locked in on the action. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA and get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Want to go and send a quick shout out to our everydayers here on Locked On Cavs. Thanks for spending some time with me today on the postcast as we discuss the unfortunate Cleveland Cavaliers loss to the Boston Celtics today, 109-98. Like I said, if you are just checking me out for the first time here on YouTube, please be sure to hit that notification button. You'll not only get my show after each and every Cavaliers game, but you will get Danny Cunningham on Locked On Cavs as well. And there's some more content coming that we're working on in the background that we can't wait to tell you about as well. Before we get to that, Kenny went with Sam Merrill today over Jaylon Tyson, and I'm not quite sure why, honestly.
Uh-oh, somebody messed up, and it's time to let them know with who fudged up.
All right, so here's the thing. I love both players. I'm not saying I dislike Sam Merrill, but I feel like in this matchup, as a matter of fact, I'm very open to the fifth starter spot being a revolving door depending on the lineup, even when Max Strus comes back. But today, they went Sam Merrill over Jaylon Tyson in the starting spot, and granted, minutes were fairly even, 29 for Merrill, 25 for Tyson. So it really maybe doesn't matter a whole big stretch, but I felt like in this game where Cleveland gets off to that really aggressive stretch, right? They score the first 7 points of the game. You're thinking like, all right, here we go. We're letting them know this isn't going to be one of those days. And then kind of slips away from them. Like I said, there's a lot to like about Sam Merrill's game, but I felt like in this matchup, particularly when you have Tatum, when you have Brown, when you have Hauser, when you have all these big body, tall dudes, even Keita in certain situations, I feel like I want Jaylon Tyson there as that more physical bruiser guard who can kind of get a wing more or less, who can kind of get in their way and make things a little bit more difficult for them. Not to say Sam Hauser's a bad defender. He's certainly not. He's one of the better defenders on the team, but that's where I feel like the difference between the two guys plays. Now, both guys weren't necessarily setting the world on fire today. I mean, Jaylon Tyson does hit that big 3 in the fourth quarter on that assist from Harden that kind of gave them a chance to kind of get back in the game. But other than that, it really was kind of a standstill there. But I felt like today between those two guys, they really could have used them more from the Tyson side of things and been a much better like lineup situation from the middle. Because especially if you look at it, like I said, I know what the score says. I know what the results say. Not hiding away from that. No reason to. Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley were really awesome today. Mitchell was the best player on the floor. When Mitchell's the best player on the floor, you shouldn't lose. He was, without shadow of doubt, of the two teams, the best player in this game. They should have won that one. You have a better second quarter. Like I said, you win this game more than likely. If you play even, we have a different conversation here. It was 11-point difference in that quarter. There's 11-point difference in the game. But even Mobley, they were finding him on the block. He had 3 blocks today himself. I thought Mitchell, for how good as he was offensively today, was really good defensively. I really feel like he kind of held his own as well, but they needed a little more from the forwards today, and that's across the board. Sam Merrill wasn't good enough. Dean Wade wasn't good enough. Jaylon Tyson wasn't good enough. Keelan Ellis wasn't good enough. But it was a game that they were really bad situation as well. I like what Chunk says here real quick. I want to make sure I shout this out. I think there were a lot of positive. Harden was bad. No JA. Celtics roles players out played perfect. I don't disagree at all. I feel like with Jarrett Allen, and this kind of goes to Thomas Bryant as well. So I thank you, Chunk, for saying this. We've all liked what Thomas Bryant has brought to the team. He's been that great third big. But that's where just having Jarrett Allen means so much to this team, right? Just kind of having that ability to stagger minutes between Allen and Mobley on the floor, and Bryant can kind of play a little bit of a lesser role. It just makes all the difference for this Cavs team. And you saw a lot of that today. So hopefully Allen's back soon. I don't know if he's going to be back for Philly tomorrow. I hope so, but they don't suck. They don't suck. It was just a bad day. They've been really good for months now. Celtics role players were just unbelievable today. But we'll kind of get to that as well, because honestly, I really got to figure out too, the bench kind of wasn't there today, and where exactly went wrong. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want. Rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits. You can mix spreads, totals, player props to match how you see the state playing out. You can apply the profit boost and instantly bump up to the potential payout. Look at the odds around the team and see where they are in the season, such as, those Miami Redhawks at 31-0. You can go safe. You can go bold. Ride the team you've been following all season, like the Redhawks, as we get ready for the MAC tournament at Rocket Arena. And it's your parlay, your style, with no more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com, FanDuel.com. FanDuel. Play your game. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. I definitely appreciate you hanging out with us. But let's go ahead and real quick and get to what was going on with the bench today.
Since hindsight is always 20/20, let's deliver today's second guess.
Bench was awful today. No other way to put it. Now, Boston, their role players, the way Joe works there, those guys over Boston, they just hit shots. It's what they do, and they couldn't stop. Baylor Scheierman today had 16 and 10, was 6 of 8 from the floor, 4 6 from 3. Payton Pritchard, they say he missed 5 shots today. Couldn't tell you where. Felt like he was hitting everything. 7 of 12 from the floor, 2 of 6 from 3, 18.7 assists. Was unbelievable on the stretch. And Luka Garza gave them a lot as well. The Celtics played 9 guys today. And Hugo Gonzalez was basically the only guy who did nothing for them today. So on the other end of things, Cleveland really did not get much. Dennis Schroeder, who's been really good since he came to Cleveland, only took 4 shots today. 1 of 4. Thomas Bryant today was 1 of 6 from the floor, 1 of 4 from 3. And then Jaylon Tyson today, like I said, was all right. Wasn't good enough probably. But Keon Ellis, I know he's there for defense, but he only had 2 stocks today. 2 stocks. That's it. For Keon Ellis, that's not a whole lot. But I feel like the bench minutes, look, they were bound to have a bad game. I think that's I think that's something you can kind of count and say that it was inevitable at some point. The way they were rolling, the way things were going, it just sucks because it's national TV against the Boston Celtics, the 1:00 slot. I'm sure, I'm not making excuses. They needed to play better and they need to play harder. And I think they're going to. Defensive effort was really bad today in big stretches of this game when they really needed it. Like I said, Harden leaving a lot of Baylor Scheierman shots open. Doesn't help the bench out very much when he's out there with the bench unit having situations like that. So this is a game where you learn from it, you figure out what to do next, and you have a quick turnaround. You're playing Monday night. Philadelphia comes to town, and it's a team who is obviously going through their own stuff. Joel Embiid looks like he's unlikely going to play. Tyrese Maxey looks like he's unlikely to play. Paul George is still out. So it's a game that you should really bounce back. And there's, I'm not going to say there's no excuses not to. It's the NBA. weird things happen. But no matter what happens in that game tomorrow, I will be here and we'll be chatting with you guys. Thank you so much for spending some time with me this afternoon. It sucks to be talking about a loss to the Celtics the way we are, but I'm not super worried about it. I think this Cavs team's going to be able to play there and do their thing. And I think there's a chance they can I still think they're a pretty darn good basketball team. Today just wasn't there. But thank you all so much. Please be sure to follow along as we have Danny Cunningham as well with Locked On Cavs, getting his recap to the game as well. I'm Tim Daniel. Thank you all so much. Have a great night. Go Cavs. And I'll see you tomorrow after the Sixers game.